Hey guys, it's Mrs. Bryant. Welcome back to Flip Video. Before we begin the video tonight, make sure you have the notes that I gave you in class today. You'll know it's the notes when it says graphs, graphs, and more graphs. We are going to talk about graphs, and we're going to introduce a new term, which is x-intercept. So when you are ready to continue the video, press play and we'll continue. Alright, so to review, look at the graph at the top of your notes. What is the slope of the line? Remember, we know slope by rise over run. And some of y'all in class today were doing this, like y'all were doing diagonal. That is not correct. Rise is going up or down. Remember, up is positive, down is negative, and run is to the left and right. Right is positive, left is negative. So let's pick our 2 points. I'm going to pick this point right here, and I'm going to pick this point right here. I always start with the rightmost point. I don't know why, I just do. So let's go up. We have 1, 2, 3. So my rise is 3 over. My run is 1, 2. Negative 2. So my slope is negative 3 halves. Now it wants to know what is the y-intercept. Remember, y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So where it crosses the y-axis is right here. Remember to write it in an ordered pair. Our x is 0 and our y-intercept would be 9. Now, let's write the equation. It's going to be y equals m, so this is your m, negative 3 halves x plus 9. So that would be your equation. So now we're going to talk about something new. If the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, what do you think the point the line crosses the x-axis is called? And the answer is x-intercept. Another name for the x-intercept is 0, and later on we'll also be calling it a root. But all you need to know is it's also called a 0. So identify on the table and the graph the x-intercept. Your x-intercept is going to have 0. Remember, a y-intercept has a 0 in the x column, and so an x-intercept will have a 0 in the y. So 0 in the y would be right here. So our x-intercept is 10, 0. And then our y-intercept is where x is 0 and there's a y. So our y-intercept is 0, 4. And it wants to know the 0, which is going to be exactly what you got for x-intercept, 10, 0. Alright, given a graph of a situation, identify and find the meaning of the parts requested. Y-intercept, well, we know it's where x equals 0 and where it hits the y-axis, so the answer is 0, 29. What does that mean? After buying 0 cupcakes, the balance is $29. And then our x-intercept is down here, so we're going to have 12, 0. And what that means, after buying 12 cupcakes, the balance is $0. So our slope, rise over run, I'm going to choose this point and I'm going to choose this point. You need to make sure you're paying attention to the scale on this axis because it does not skip by ones, it's skipping by twos. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And my run is, we're counting by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I simplify that, my slope is going to be 2.5. And what that means is for every cupcake costs $2.50. Alright, in y equals mx plus b, the b is the y-intercept and the m is the slope. And that is something we talked about in class today, so make sure you don't forget it. And now it wants us to graph this. So always start with your y-intercept because it gives you a starting point. So put a dot on -3. And our slope is a positive, so we're going to go up 2 and over 1. And since you're algebra, you should be able to work in the inverse. You're going to go down 2 and to the left 1 to keep it positive. And there is your line. It says graph this using the slope and the y-intercept. And then what is the x-intercept of each linear function? If you have different colors, you can use different colors. I'm going to use different colors, so this one is going to be red. All right, I don't have a y-intercept, so obviously it starts at 0, so I'm going to put my starting point at 0. And then my slope is going to be rise over run, which is 3 over 1. 3 over 1, and go backwards because you're algebra. 1, 2, 3 over 1, so it stays positive. There is your linear function graphed. Our x-intercept is going to be 0, 0 because it goes through the origin. So let's draw the next one. I'm going to start at +3, and my slope is 3 over 1. So go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, so it stays positive. Here is my new linear line or linear function, so my x-intercept is -1, 0. Okay, so let's graph using a point and a slope. If I have my slope and I'm giving a starting point, I should be able to graph. So starting point, 6, -3. So I'm going to go over to 6 and go down to 3 and put my point. Now it wants to know what is the 0, so we're looking for our x-intercept. So I know I'm going to need to move up on my graph because I need to get to the x-axis. So I'm going to rise up 2 and to the left 3. So rise up 2 and to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do it again. Up 2 and to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. Now connect your dots. And again, I'll say I do not draw straight lines very well. And it wants to know what is the 0. Well, you can see it crosses right there. So it looks like it crosses at 1, 0. Let's graph using a point and the slope. So my point is -3, -9. And my slope is 5. So I'm going to rise up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And go over 1. I wish I could draw with a straight line. So it looks like your point is going to be 8.5, -8.5, 0. Oh, it says what is the y-intercept? Here we go. My fault, guys. Got to pay attention to what you're reading. So let's keep going because we have not crossed the y-axis yet. And our graph isn't going to show it, so we're going to want to build a table. So we have our x and we have our y, and we know our change is going to be, change in y is going to be 5, and our change in x is going to be 1. So if we're at -3, we want to go to -2, -1, 0, and this is what we're looking for. So our change is 5, +5, so -9, so that would be -4. That would be 1, and that would be 6. So this is your y-intercept. Go back to your previous example and let's build a table for that one. So you have your x and you have your y's, and you have your change in y over here and your change in x over here. Now we know that we need to get to our y as being 0. So I'm going to have my y is change is -2 and my x is going to be 3 because we want to get our x as close to 0. I'm sorry, our y is close to 0, so if I add 3 to that, it's already there. So I have 6 -3. So if I add 3, I'm at 0, and if I add or take away 2, I'm at I'm at 4. So here is your root. I was way off, guys. All right. So graphing using point. Given 2 points, create another point to graph the line. Okay, so in order to create a new point, we can figure out our slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here's your y2 and your y1, x2, x1. So I have 2 minus -7. Remember, that becomes a positive. And then I have over 4 minus a -2, and that becomes a positive. So I have 9 over 6, which is going to be 3 over 2. So -2, -7 is 1 point. 4, 2 is another point. And it wants us to figure out the y-intercept, so we can figure that out using the slope. I'm going to go up 3 and over 2. Now we have our y-intercept, so our y-intercept is 0, -4, and our other point is 0, -4. So we created another point, and we figured out the y-intercept. Connect your lines. All right, another example. Given 2 points, create another point. What is the 0? You're just going to do exactly the same thing we did on the previous one. We're going to skip that to save time, though. So from the table, what are the intercepts? X-intercept is going to be 6, 0. Y-intercept is going to be 0, -1. Given a table, graph the line. Well, change in y is going to be 0, and your change in x plus 5 plus 4. So your slope, or m, is equal to 0, because change in y over change in x is 0 over 5, and that equals 0. So, -2, 3, 3, 3, 7, 3. So there's our line. You have graphed using the following: slope and y-intercept, slope and a point in ordered pairs. Now let's graph lines from a situation. Seth's father is thinking of buying his son a 6-month movie pass for $40. With the pass, each movie costs $4. What does the x-intercept mean in this situation? Okay, so first things first, you have to graph it. 1 ticket, this is going to be the balance, and this is going to be number of tickets. So 1 tickets, the balance is 36. 0 tickets, the balance was 40. If you go all the way down to 10, you're going to get there. So what does the x-intercept mean? It means he bought 10 tickets, 0 balance. Lastly, suppose that the water level river is 34 feet, so there's your y-intercept, that's your starting point, and is receding, means going down at a rate of 0.5 foot per day. Okay, so 34 feet, then 32 feet would be a foot, and so on. So you're going to end up with number of days.